Morning.
Morning. Hi, today's Monday, July 20th, and we're going to be reading Second Chronicles 21, 22, and 23.
All right. And today, Matthew's going to record. And Daddy's going to read. And Matthew's in my seat. And I'm going to sit in Matthew's seat. So what are we reading today?
21, right?
21,
Right there. And then we're going to read
22, and
23.
23.
And then we're also going to read, we're going to stop at 24.
All right. Here you go. Okay. Where's 21? Oh, there you go.
So Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with them in the city of David, and Jehoram his son ruled in his place. And he had brothers, sons of Jehoshaphat king of Israel, Azariah, Jehiel, Zechariah, Azariah, Michael, and Shephatiah. And their father gave them great gifts of silver, gold, and excellent items, along with fortified cities in Judah. But he gave the kingdom of Jehoram because he was the firstborn. Jehoram, king of Judah. And Jehoram rose up over the kingdom of his father, and he became strong. And he killed all his brothers with the sword, and even some of the officials in Israel. Now Jehoram was 32 years old when he began as king, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel as those from the house of Ahab did. For the daughter of Ahab was the wife of Jehoram. And he did evil in the eyes of the Lord. But the Lord was not willing to destroy the house of David because of the covenant that he made with David. And because he said that he would give a lamp to David and his sons for all days. In the days of Jehoram, Edom revolted from being under the hand of Judah, and they set a king for themselves. So Jehoram passed over to the Edomite territory with his commanders and all his chariots. And it happened that he rose up at night and struck the Edomites who had surrounded him and his chariot commanders. So Edom revolted from being under the hand of Judah until this day. At the time, Libnah also revolted from being under the rule because Jehoram had abandoned the Lord God of his fathers. He even made high places in the hill country of Judah and caused those in Jerusalem to be like prostitutes, and he led Judah astray. And a letter came to him from Elijah the prophet, saying, Thus says the Lord God of David your father, because you have not walked in the ways of Jehoshaphat your father, or in the ways of Asa king of Judah, but have walked in the way of the kings of Israel, and have led Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem into whoredom, as the house of Ahab led Israel into whoredom, and also have killed your brothers, those of your father's house, who were better than you. The Lord will bring a great plague on your people, your children, your wives, and all your possessions, and you will have great sickness with a disease of your intestines, until your intestines come out because of the disease day by day.
Right.
Then the Lord stirred up the spirit of the Philistines against Jehoram, and also the Arabians who were near the Cushites. And they went up against Judah and broke through, and they took every possession found in the palace of the king, even his sons and wives, so that no son was left with him except his youngest, Ahaziah, the death of Jehoram. And after all this, the Lord struck him in his entrails with an incurable disease. And it happened after many days, at the end of 2 years, his entrails came out due to his disease, so he died by a despicable disease. And his people did not make for him a memorial fire like the fire for his fathers. He was 32 when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he departed with no one's regret. They buried him in the city of David, but not in the tombs of the kings. Chapter 22. Ahaziah, king of Judah. Then those in Jerusalem made Ahaziah, the youngest son of Jehoram, king in this place, because the raiding party, those coming with the Arabians to the camp, killed all the older sons. So Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, reigned in Jerusalem. Now Ahaziah was 42 years old when he began to reign, but he only reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. The name of his mother was Athaliah, the granddaughter of Omri. And he also walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, because his mother was the one counseling him to do evil. And he also did what was evil in the eyes of the Lord, like the house of Ahab, for they served as his counselors after his father Jehoram died, which led to the destruction. Even Ahaziah walked in the council and went with Jehoram the son of Ahab, king of Israel, to war against Hazael, king of Aram, at Ramoth Gilead. When the Arameans wounded Joram, and the king returned to Jezreel to heal from the wounds that he sustained in Ravna, where he fought against Hazael, king of Aram. Then Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, went down to see Joram, the son of Ahab, in Jezreel, because he was wounded. And it was from God that a downfall would happen to Ahaziah in regard to his visit with Joram. And when he arrived, he went out with Joram to see Jehu, the son of Nimshi, whom the Lord anointed to cut off the house of Ahab. And it happened that when Jehu was acting in judgment with the house of Ahab, that he found the rulers of Judah and the sons of the brothers of Ahaziah, who were serving Ahaziah, and Jehu killed them. He sought out Ahaziah, and they captured him while he had hid in Samaria. And they brought him to Jehu, and they put him to death. And they buried him, because they said, he is the grandson of Jehoshaphat, who sought the Lord with all his heart. And there was no one from the house of Ahaziah strong enough to retain the kingdom. Athaliah seizes the throne. So when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she rose up and mounted a campaign to destroy all the royal offspring of the house of Judah. But Jehoshabeth, the daughter of the king, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him away from the king's sons, who were going to be put to death. And she placed him and his nurse in a bedchamber. So Jehoshabeth, the daughter of the king Jehoram, and the wife of Jehoiada the priest, since she was a sister of Ahaziah, hid Joash from Athaliah, and she did not put the royal child to death. And he was hidden away with them in the house of God for 6 years, and Athaliah ruled over the land.
Joash, chapter 23. Joash, king of Judah. Then in the 7th year, Jehoiada strengthened himself and made a covenant with the commanders over hundreds: Azariah, the son of Jehoram; Ishmael, the son of Jehohanan; Azariah, the son of Obed; Maaseiah, the son of Adiah; and Elisaphat, the son of Zichri. And they went throughout Judah and gathered the Levites from all the cities of Judah, and even the heads of the fathers' houses in Israel. Then they all came to Jerusalem. So the whole assembly made a covenant with the king in the house of God. And Jehoiada said to them, the king's son will reign, as the Lord has said, of the sons of David. And this is the thing that you all will do. A third of you all from the priests and Levites who come on the Sabbath will be gatekeepers. 1/3 will be at the palace of the king, and another third at the foundation gate. And all the people will be in the courts of the house of the Lord. And may no one enter the house of the Lord except the priests and those Levites who are serving. Those can enter because they are holy, but all the people will keep their assigned duty of the Lord. Then the Levites will surround the king, each man with his weapon in his hand, and whoever enters the house will be put to death. They will be with the king when he enters and leaves. The Levites and all Judah did everything that Jehoiada the priest commanded. Each brought his men who were to come on duty on the Sabbath, and those who were to go off duty on the Sabbath, because Jehoiada the priest did not dismiss the divisions. Then Jehoiada the priest gave to the commanders of hundreds in the spears and the large and small shields which had been King David's, which were in the house of God. Then he set all the people around the king, each man with his weapon in hand, from the south side to the north side of the temple, from the altar of the temple. Then they brought out the son of the king and set on him the crown and the testimony, and they proclaimed him as king. So Jehoiada and his sons anointed him and said, "Long live the king." The death of Athaliah. And then Athaliah heard the sound of the people running and praising the king. She went toward the people in the temple of the Lord, and she saw the king standing by the pillar of the entrance of the officials and trumpeters next to the king. And all the people of the land were rejoicing and blowing trumpets, and singers with their instruments, with songs, were offering up praise. Then Athaliah tore her garments and yelled, "Treachery! Treachery!" Then Jehoiada, the priest, brought out the commanders over hundreds, those entrusted over the army, and said to them, "Bring her out between the ranks, and let whoever follows her be killed with the sword." For the priest said, "Do not put her to death in the house of the Lord." So they seized her, and she went to the entrance of the horse gate of the king's palace, and they put her to death there. And Jehoiada made a covenant between himself, the people, and the king, that they would be a people dedicated to the Lord. Then all the people went to the temple of Baal, and they tore it down along with its altars, and they shattered its images, and Mathan, the priest of Baal, they killed before the altars. Then Jehoiada placed guards at the house of the Lord under the supervision of the priests, the Levites, whom David allotted for the house of the Lord, to make burnt offerings to the Lord, as it is written in the law of Moses, with rejoicing and music, according to the direction of David. And he set the gatekeepers at the house, at the gates of the house of the Lord, so that no one might enter who was in any manner unclean. Then he took the commanders over hundreds, the nobles, those in authority over the people, and all the people of the land, and they brought down the king from the house of the Lord. And they went through the upper gate of the palace of the king, and they brought the king to sit on the royal throne. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city had peace, when they put Athaliah to death with the sword. And that is 2 Chronicles. If you just click on it, it will.
I got it.